One SEO, was it 12 years ago?
About 10.
10 years ago. So 10 years and maybe 6 months that it was in your mind. What was that first 6 months before you started it?
It was actually probably about 11 years ago. It was in my mind. I knew I wanted to go on my own. I was the vice president of AT&T for the whole country. I had about 900 employees. Just wasn't happy. I was living out in California. Believe it or not, I weighed about 280 pounds.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. I was really out of shape and just wasn't happy. I just wanted to change. And corporate America, it was great to me for 20 years. I loved it. I have no complaints, but my time was done.
So you have 900 people that you're responsible to. Was it you and an individual that you were in communication with above you and then the board, or was it like you talking to the board? No,
so it was, we started yellowpages.com at the hotel conference room, and then we grew it to about 159 million. As it kept growing, AT&T and Bell South merged. So I actually reported directly to Ray Wilkins, if you know who that is.
Okay, yeah.
And the CEO of AT&T, Randall
So there was
Stevenson.
a merger right before you
about
decided.
18 months in.
Okay.
So it changed the whole dynamic of everything. Culture never really changed. Nah, I mean, some things changed. Expense reports, I filled those out, some other things. But no, I reported directly to a guy by the name of Charles Stubbs also. Okay. And he was an amazing boss, amazing leader. Couldn't say enough great things about him. And he actually knew the space. So he was a CEO
what
like
are some
me.
Of the things that made him, to you, a good leader?
Well, if you met this guy, he's the polar opposite of me. He's very quiet. He's an Ivy League undergrad and grad, where I'm state undergrad and grad. Very polished. He's a great human being. I can't say a negative word about him. And he was very hands-off. He just wanted success and wanted you to grow. And he understood not everybody was like him. And he managed the numbers. He taught me manage to the numbers. Nothing else matters but numbers. I mean, it sounds great, everything else, but when you're building a company, you're running a company, when you're in charge of that company, the only thing matters is numbers, because you won't have a company without numbers.
Yeah, and so when it comes to the mentors that you had in your life, was he one of the top 5 mentors?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I have different mentors in many aspects of my life that, some might not have been my boss, some might not have been. I just see the way they handle themselves, how they speak, what they do. I'm very fortunate. I've had a lot of great mentors.
So when you decided to leave that company, which you were doing exceptionally well, was the idea a big part of it? The idea of like this new business that you wanted to start? Or did you leave and then come up with the idea?
Well, I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Okay. Actually, I was going to another company, a non-compete came into play. The other company, not a shot at them, Yellow Book, Jim McCusker and Russ Michaels, Joe Walsh. They did what a lot of employers do when you're got somebody that's down and out, because I had to sit a year out for a non-compete. They came back and lowballed me an original offer I had, and I just said, keep your money. I started my own company right that day.
Wow.
But I kind of knew I was going to, and I kind of saw it coming. Mm-hmm. Russ and Jimmy weren't getting back to me as much. They weren't staying in touch as much. They did offer, I give them credit, was one thing. They offered AT&T over $1 million to let me out of my non-compete, which I said no to, because I was going to be handcuffed to them. And I didn't want to be handcuffed, because I knew I was eventually going to start my own company, and I knew I was going out on my own. So when they came back and Russ called me, it was pretty funny. I'll never forget. It was an afternoon, and I'm sitting there working on my plan for one SEO at the time. Yeah. And my phone rings. He's like, Russ Michaels here. I'm like, hey, Russ, how you doing? It's been a while. And he's like, well, some things have changed. We've changed. What I would like you to do is take Joe Walsh out, take Jim out, take the leadership team out around the country and teach them about digital marketing and show them digital marketing. I'm like, yeah, Russ, that's probably not going to be a job for me. So, I just literally we never said, I don't have any hard feelings to those guys, but,
you knew that was your moment.
That was the deciding factor. And every once in a while, I'll just email them, thank you guys. And, everyone I look back that was my boss that knew I had potential but wanted to hold me back. Because a lot of times, bosses will hold back their great players.
See it all the time.
It doesn't make any sense to me. You should want to promote your great players and train your great players and develop them, because they're going to make your company that much better.
So but a lot of people an alternative approach when you started at One SEO.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at all my leadership team. I mean, they've all started from the bottom. Every one of my leadership team started from the bottom, and we developed in-house. Everyone.
It's funny you bring that up, because Anthony just interviewed me earlier before we did this together, and it was phenomenal. And, I'm always doing videos of people. It was phenomenal. And he said this was his first job basically out of college.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he rose through the ranks. He said he had 4 business cards because he just has that edge to want to grow and want to be better.
Yeah, and Anthony will work 15 hours a day, like a lot of millennials. Who'll work the weekends. No, I hate to say it. Just not to be. Listen, I can tell you this. I look at the woman that will replace me, CJ. She'll be the CEO of the company when I step down. And she started as a project manager here 7 years ago, and just worked her way up and kept worked her way up. And when she's ready to be the CEO of this company, when just some things we got to work on, but outside of that, she'll be fully ready, and then I'll step down probably next year or two. Make sense?
So it's impressive and interesting to me and intriguing. Someone that's a student of this game, of understanding how companies evolve positively and not negatively, that you embody that culture, you embody that belief that people should be able to rise up the ranks. That isn't necessarily a lot of companies.
But a lot of companies fail, though, because they go bring people. So take my sister, for example, Jillian. She helped me start the company, right? My sister was working for my brother-in-law delivering coffee, right? I would put my sister 10 years later up against anyone on pay-per-click throughout the country. Anyone. She's mastered it. If you love something, you're dedicated to it. And remember when we started this company, we were fighting for survival. When you're a startup, you're fighting for survival just to make it. Now we're way past that. We're debt free, over 100 plus employees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're close to 150 or something.
Yeah, we're doing very well. But I've never lost that hunger. I'm still here every day. Jolene's here every day. And that's just what you have to be. And that goes down to the rest of our culture. I don't buy into the work from home as much as you want from home. I know a lot of other companies, that's absolutely not. Because, it just doesn't work. And not that it doesn't work. You might get a good day out of somebody working from home, but what happens if someone just breaks up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, or their parent dies, or their cat dies, and they just got to be lifted up and feel better?
They just have to be lifted up.
That's it. They just have to feel, well, this is the community that's going to do that for you. And what happens if one of my clients have an emergency? I can't wait and say, hey, listen, Jay's working from home today. They don't want to hear that.
Well, when I first came to your company, I was extremely impressed that it was open. And that open architecture, like the floors are open, it reflects your character. You're open. Everything you're just saying right now is an open mindset. And that is one of the common denominators of actually having cultural alignment, is the openness and people showing up and being able to be lifted up. So, you train your people pretty consistently, is that correct?
We do anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a week of training here.
Say that again.
6 to 8 hours a week of training.
6 to 8 hours. Now, some people watching this, they might have crazy companies, and they're not even doing that. I believe they could learn something from you, actually, on that topic. How do you manage 6 to 8 hours? What does that look like in a week? Is it spontaneous? Is it
It's organized, consistent. Okay. To be truthful with you, CJ and her team has implemented that. They run it. Heather runs a big piece of it, BJ. So they handle that part. But I know it's about 6 to 8 hours of training from product to development to customer service. We train on everything. Remember, we're a service-based business, so not only do we have to get you great results, we also deliver you great customer service. So it's a little different.
Wow. Now, going back a few months before you started the company, did you envision all of this the way it is now? Or
no.
Was it...
I wanted 10 employees. I didn't expect to be having my fourth son right now either. So, I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm having my fourth son in a month. So, I didn't expect that. But anyone that said they envisioned this would be lying, because, listen, my partner Sam, like he said, he bet on me. My partner Scott said he bet on me. Jolene. It's not a matter of that. I didn't know if I wanted to. Does that make sense? Yeah. I kind of wanted to be 10 people, 12 people, kind of small, niche, this and that. And I just kept growing and growing and growing. Once we were in the dogfight, I think we made a decision once we were at about 40-some people. I think we just kind of made the decision, hey, listen, we're in a dogfight. We might as well keep growing. We grow organically. We're constantly growing.
Do you believe in the beginning, when you first started the company, some of that thought of, let me keep it tight, let me marine it out, some of that might have been from the dissonance of working for that giant company, that something was misaligned?
Well, I just think big corporations don't get they say from up top it's about their customers, but they literally do everything they can to piss off their customers. Like, and I understand the customer's not always right. People say the customer's not always right. No, the customer's not always right. That's actually false in this space because there's so many moving pieces this space, and once you give someone an inch, they try and take a mile. That's the problem, right? I mean, so I get that part of it, but they do they don't even trust their own leadership team there to say, hey, listen, this person was a great customer of ours. Let them have a month or two, whatever. Maybe we messed up. No. This is what the guidelines call for. And sometimes you go outside of the guidelines, and that's what it comes down to. No, I think part of it might have been that. I know me, Joe Lynn, when we started this company, Ben Bechtel, CJ, quite a few of us, every customer we've had is still a customer today.
Yeah, wow.
So if that makes sense. Like there's original customers, Village Catering, Lisa Dunleavy. They love me. Still to today. They still call my cell phone. 10 years later, they call my cell phone. They text me, and that's because of great product, but you also build relationships with people. And I do think people in a service-based business buy people. I don't think they buy a company per se. I think they buy people. They buy your belief system. They believe in you.
Yeah.
And, my team has to deliver on that. That's the biggest thing. And we do, thank God.
Well, it's interesting because even though you had the assumption that you would stay small, I would say from a leadership standpoint, because you are who you are, you attract people who believe in you, who are competent, and now you're as big as you are today. I mean, it's a testament to you, like as a leader.
I mean,
whether people throw flowers behind you when you walk. I mean,
I don't look at myself as a leader. I look at myself as a lucky guy. I mean, I think the one thing I bring to the table that most people don't do, is I own other companies outside of here, but I still come here and I work 70 hours a week every week. I still work on Saturdays and Sundays. So I still work. I mean, my wife, I'm fortunate, thank God, my wife never says a word to me about working. I coach my children every night, but then I go back to work almost every night, and I work weekends.
Now, that thought, that how you view the world, the grit, we would call it, whatever you want to call it, where does that come from?
Oh, I just think America is the best place in the world. This is the only country where, it's funny, my son just started Germantown Academy. It's probably one of the most proudest days of my life, for me. It's pretty funny because you pull up the Germantown Academy, you're like, holy shit, this place is something. But, when I was that age, I'm one of 14 kids. We were barely eating. We didn't have food. And my mom tried her best, It was just a whole different world back then. But only in America can, in one generation, you go from, hell to sending your kids to one of the best private schools in the state. Only in America. Oh, I truly believe that.
Wow.
So I'm a true believer in this world is yours to make of what you want. But no one's going to hand it to you. No one's just going to say, yo, Jay, here's $100. Here, it's funny. I asked my staff, has anyone ever walked you up and offered $100 to you? And one girl was like, yeah, in college, some guy walked up to me, an older person, here's $100, go buy an ice cream. I said, he didn't give you the $100 for it. Like, are you that delusional? Like,
yeah, what do you really
I mean, like, let's be realistic here, right? They didn't know you, nothing. No one walks up and hands you money. This is the only country where if you go work hard, do the right thing, you can make money. And people just come up with every excuse not to. They'll say, it's funny, I watch people watching TV or playing on Facebook or going out drinking. All that time, you could be earning money. Mastering your craft.
Was there some time, let's say you're in middle school, did you have a part-time job or something that...
Yeah, me and my brothers, we were selling pretzels on the corner when we were in first grade and kindergarten. We were maniacs. We were selling pretzels in Northeast Philly, Frankfurt and Cottman, you name it, Academy, off 95, Tarsdale Avenue. We were selling pretzels and flowers every Saturday and Sunday, all day long.
What age?
I was probably 5 my first day on the job, or 6.
So your first day seeing what capitalism can bring, you're 5 years old.
Yeah, the problem was we only got to keep 20. Well, back then it was huge money. We got to keep 20 of the dollars, and my dad took the rest of the money. But, do $20 on Saturday to $20 on Sunday, you're $40. You got more money than the other kid in your class.
What do you believe that did to your psyche growing up? Did it make you want to be a businessman, or were you thinking about college?
No, I never thought about college. I think college is bullshit, if you ask me.
I never graduated high school, so...
I graduated high school, college, executive MBA.
So you were conscientious, though?
Nah, the reason I went back to college is when I was in corporate America, you get passed by promotions, you don't have the paper. I just saw... My brother Fred gave me the best piece of advice. I didn't graduate my first degree until I was 30, which I was already making over $250,000 a year. So I was 26 years old making over $250,000 a year.
Going back to college.
So my brother said you could be 30 with a degree or 30 without a degree. But unless you die, you're still going to be 30. So I went back and got of that word. I was like, and I never quit. That saying just came back to me constantly. Like, wow. I'm going to be 30 with or without a degree. And I was 30, I turned with a degree. So I just think college is over. You know, if I had to do it again, I said this to my son, go learn a service, a trade business, and do the right thing. And you can be there's money in anything. There's money in selling these microphones, bottle caps, yep. The desk. There's money in anything if you do the right thing and you work. A piece of paper, you know, so many people put so much weight in accomplishing college because that's what your parents tell you. Your parents tell you. And listen, I believe in college for my children. I do. But that's just a stepping stone to what you're going to go do. Mm. That's like going to the gym to go play football in high school or wrestle. You still got to go out and perform.
You feel like a lot of people go and then they just stop even.
Well, I just think people go to college and they think that's the performance. Yeah. That's the whole dance. No, people that go to the gym every day and work out and they put these vitamins in their body is to go perform on Sunday or Wednesday night when it's wrestling time or Saturday for soccer. You got to perform. And same thing on work. If you perform, you're going to be rewarded. If you don't perform, you're not going to. Doesn't matter how much you study, you can be the smartest person in the world. If you don't come and bring it to work every day, or whatever it is that you're mastering, your craft, you're never going to be successful.
So I just saw Google made it now where they're not needing college degrees. I think I just saw an article.
Correct. All the companies are. Amazon, Facebook.
Larger companies
Correct.
Are doing this. What are some of the things that you look for in a person, whether it's character traits, experiences, if they're interested? Let's say someone watches this and they'd like to interview to work at One SEO.
Communication skills and will. If you could have communication skills and will. So first of all, I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but you're going to have to kill me to beat me in something I care about. Huh. You just are. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. So will take you a long way. You know, I wasn't the best salesperson at all the companies I worked for. I wasn't the best technology person, but I would work 16, 17 hours a day when everybody else worked 8 or 9. So I looked like I was the best constantly, if that makes sense. So it's will versus skill. I wasn't the best wrestler, but I just always would never quit. And most of the things that you win or lose in life are probably you quitting right when you're ready to win, right at the finish line.
It's funny you bring that up because there was a point in time where I almost did quit on Culture Matters. And then I was in an accident where I almost lost my arm with an ATV. Like, I got a scar all the way up. That's the reason I didn't quit. It's like, and the level of will that came out of that, no, I could have never read a book or bought a course or anything.
Nah.
And after I persisted, here I am. So that speaks to me on levels. I'm going to listen to this later.
I look at everyone that's ever worked for me, whether it be AT&T. You know, it's funny. And his name was Bill, and he died. And I'll tell you a quick story, right? So at AT&T, we interviewed everyone. We're going around, open up offices. I meet an African-American male. He's probably 68 years old, 65 years old at the time. And he's going through the interview. And now, I remember the culture there was, it didn't matter if you're black or white, it was just, or an Asian, it was just a young person's game at the time, right? Because you're outside sales, you're pounding. So the average age is probably 28 to 40, let's just say, for the most part, across the country, right? I interviewed this guy, and Bill's BBMing me, this is like BlackBerry Messenger back in the day. He's like, there's no way we can hire this person, right? So as I go to decline the gentleman, I said, listen, this is a brutal job. And he sees where I'm going with him. Like, it's just a tough job. He says, son, you don't know what I've been through. Now, this is a 65-year-old African-American man, and he has tears coming out of his eyes. He's like, I've been squirted down with fire hoses. He goes, I've been beat. He goes, you name it, it's been done to me. I literally hired him on the spot. Any man that says that in an interview, you're going to hire him. This guy has pure heart, pure will. You've been through that shit, you can go sell some Yellow Page advertising, right? Yeah. He failed training the first time. They wanted to fire him. I said, let him do training again. The only person in AT&T's history to do training twice. The only person. Wow. The guy winds up being one of our best salespeople in D.C. People loved him. And I think he's the only person when he passed away, the whole entire office went down to his funeral. Just a great human being. And that's a story of will. Just will. But, you know, if he doesn't hit me with that will end of the line as he sees where it's going, I would never hire that gentleman. And he wouldn't. And now he changed my life forever. Because now I don't look for just the best talent. I look for the best will.
That leaves me speechless a little bit.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
If you were, let's say, go back 11 years ago or 10 years and 6 months, if you were to talk to yourself, what would you say to yourself, knowing what you know today, whether it's advice?
Don't drink so much.
2 years sober.
I gotta get on your.
Don't tell stateside. They might be upset on that. Interesting.
Nah.
So what's the vision for One SEO?
Well, I mean, we're going to keep growing. We have an IT department now, managed services, desktop support. I think that's important. My partner, Scott, is one of the most brilliant people out there in the IT business. And that's just grown like wildfire, and we're very fortunate for that. Just to keep growing, trying to have some fun while we're doing it. It's a very stressful business, but we're lucky. I mean, we have great clients. We have great employees. I have a great leadership team. Like, I have the best. Listen, we always don't see eye to eye on things. Yeah. But we know one thing, we're all moving the ship directly together in the right manner. The vision is just keep growing, have fun. And I could double the size of my company tomorrow if I went to lessen the product, if that makes sense. Just hire, because we have the leads coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, we have more than enough leads. That's not the problem.
This is the time where the whole world is finally waking up that SEO matters, pay-per-click matters, all the services matter. So you're seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think there's a lot more companies out there saying they can do it. Mm-hmm. I think a lot more people, I think expectations are up here. People think it's 20 years ago. It's not no more. So it's incremental growth, stuff like that. So that's hard. I think everyone's saying they're expert. I mean, every idiot with a laptop says they do social media. I mean, if I gave you a nickel for every person I meet that says their niece, nephew, cousin, uncle, Bobby, Ricky, Mike does what I do, you'd be a billionaire.
Just because they're young, people are under the impression that they're awesome at social when all they're doing is Tindering. I say that.
What's amazing to me is that you would trust your multi-million-dollar business or $1 million business, whatever it may be, with someone that has no experience at growing people's companies. That's the only reason you hire us, is to grow your company or to protect your company on the IT side, right? And I'm like, really? Well, I don't think social media works. Of course social media doesn't work. Of course SEO doesn't work. You hired a fucking finance major. You hired a political science major. Yeah, but they're really good on a computer. I'm really good with a soccer ball, but I didn't go play soccer in college. I mean, come on, man. Like, what do you mean? You know?
Yeah,
so
I get it.
I don't even get involved in that part, and I kind of just, when people say that to me, I'm like, that's great. I'm like, I hope they're on every billboard after me. Like, I mean, or I'll say just like something nice. Like,
it's almost surreal, actually, because a couple years, when I came to Philly 2 years ago and I decided I'm going to take it over, I saw your billboards all the time. And it's almost surreal that we're finally sitting down and getting to talk to each other.
Absolutely.
On a final note, what's one question that you have for me, the crazy guy that walked into your office unannounced? And
what's the future for Culture Matters? That's one question. And what's the biggest thing you're trying to achieve when you're talking to people? So I got two.
Future Culture Matters. So the vision of Culture Matters is to live in a world where every man, woman, and child takes responsibility to read, write, and speak every day. And we're executing on that. Like tonight, when I'm going to North Jersey, we're going to have a culture meeting where random strangers are going to get together and they're going to be inspired to do what I just said. That's number one.
It's awesome.
And they'll be all over the country. Number two was, what was the question?
That's one. Number two is, number one was,
where do I see it going? Culture Matters, right?
What was the second question?
What do you hope to accomplish with you?
Yeah,
What do I hope to accomplish with me personally?
Yeah.
I'm going to help Google, Uber, Amazon, all of the top companies on the planet in the background, help their people care about being at work. So there's less turnover and more productivity. I'm going to help individuals that run the top companies in the world create the architecture of belief. And I'm going to translate that because in 2065, I'm going to be the president.
All right, well.
Dead ass serious.
All right, well. Hey, listen. I wish you the best of luck.
Super big. But that is what I'm doing. So now we're done with this. But this was an awesome interview.
No problem. Thank you.